Hi everyone. Today we're going to work on IXL assignment AN8, write equations from words. So when we are given a word problem or a verbal phrase and we're asked to write an expression, an equation, even an inequality, some of the major words and phrases that you will see are pictured here. This, of course, isn't all of them, but it's some of the most common ones. So if this is something that you want to screenshot and add to your notes, you can reference that to kind of say, okay, oh, when I see the word combined or sum, it's going to tell me addition. Or if I see decreased by or less than, traction. And then one of the key things that you may or may not be aware of is what it means where our equal sign goes. So the most common part is the word is, and it can be extended like is the same as or is equivalent to, but is one of the most common words that means equal because we're saying this is that. This equals that. When you're working with expressions and equations and writing them as word problems or just solving them, I have found that the subtraction is typically the trickiest. So I kind of wanted to focus in and go through that a little bit closer here. Because when we have just, regular subtraction, we can just write it as is. Some examples of that would be 5 minus 3. That literally is just 5 minus sign 3. Or the difference of 10 and 8, we have 10 minus 8. 7 decreased by 4, 7 minus 4. 13 take away 1, 13 minus 1. We can have those set up pretty easily. Where it can get tricky, where it's important, is what I like to call the turnaround examples, where they're actually written backwards from what they say. We're turning it around and putting it at the end. This is really important because when we're dealing with subtraction, if we subtract our numbers backwards, it could affect our answer and whether we get a positive or a negative number. So just as a super quick example on how that would work, if, we have 5 minus 3, well, that equals 2. But if we accidentally did it backwards and did 3 minus 5, that would give us the answer of -2, which is a drastically different answer. We talk about it in terms of money. If you have $2 to spend versus you're in debt and you owe someone $2, pretty big difference in what you have. So some of the major turnaround examples that kind of let us know that that number needs to come after would be like 10 less than 15. Since the 10 is less than the 15, that's telling us that we have to turn this around, put the 10 at the end, and make it 15 minus 10. Another example would be 4 subtracted from 6. Since it's telling us that the 4 is being subtracted from, that is telling us to turn it around, put it afterwards, making it 6 minus 4. And then 9 reduced from, or it could even say 9 reduced by. Oh no, that's actually a good point. So since it says 9 reduced from 12, the 9 comes after. But if it said 9 reduced by 12, then it would be like one of these examples up here, 9 minus 12. So the phrasing is very important. Definitely brings a little bit of that English and our grammar into our math here. And then 8 fewer than 20 means there's 8 fewer, there's 8 less than that 20. Again, it turns around and needs to come after. So some of the key things that I'm noticing here is the words than and from are some major key things to look for to help you know it's a turnaround one. All right, hopefully this chart is handy, but let's go ahead and get some actual practice in and apply some of these key phrases to our actual sentences here and write them as an equation. Here we are on IXL, assignment AN8, write equations from words. Please remember that IXL also has some helpful information. You can always click on this right here to see an example. So it would be just like it would be in a textbook. And even better yet, they have an awesome video that you can watch. So if you feel like after watching this video, you need a little bit more practice, need to hear it from a different perspective, please check out these IXL resources because they're really very good. All right, our first question here says to write this sentence as an equation, 325 is the same as the sum of 18 and W. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to mark this up. Remember that you do have a pencil tool. So if you want to mark it up on IXL like I do, you can, or you can always, use your own paper and pencil. But the first thing I notice as I read this a second time is it says 325 is the same as. That is the same as tells me it's equal. So I'm going to have 325 is equal to something. And then it says the sum of 18 and W. Well, sum means addition. So we're going to be adding 18 and W. And there we go. We have our equation. And we can type this in and it will mark it as correct. The nice thing is if you were to type it in the other direction and put the equals 325 on the right, it would still mark it as correct. What it mainly is looking for is that the 325 is equal. It's on one side, and then your 18 plus W is on the other side. All right, we want to write this sentence as an equation. 384 subtracted from Z is 312. All right, I see a subtraction one here that makes me think of those examples we went through a minute ago. So I want to look very carefully to make sure I can get this right. So it says the 384 is subtracted from the Z. So if that's being subtracted from the Z, this is one of our turnaround examples, and that's really going to go after. So we'll have Z minus 384. So that 384 is being subtracted from the Z. Now I see the word is. That word is tells me equal. So that is equal to 312. I'm going to clear some of my drawings here to make sure I didn't get the number wrong. Yep, 312. And then that would be your answer. All right, next example. 109 times Z is 312. When we go through and read this one here, it says times, which means multiplication. There's more than one way that we can write multiplication, but if we're multiplying a number and a variable, which we are here, the most common way to write that is just have them side by side, and your number goes first and the variable goes second. That's the most proper format. And then I see the word is right here. Is means equal. So that is equal to 312. And we can type that in. Make sure you're careful when you type it in. Put it all in the right order. Marked as correct. Next question. The quotient of 109 and Z is 312. Really likes the 300 numbers today, huh? Okay, well, when we look at this, first thing I notice when I do a reread is it says quotient. Quotient means division, and the directions down here are telling us to use this slash as our division sign. So it's the quotient of 109 and Z. So 109 and Z. And then I see the word is, that means equals 312. And I will go ahead and type this one in just so you can see exactly how that would look typed in. So you may see these directions on problems that aren't a division problem. It's just kind of letting you know, hey, you're going to be getting some division ones here soon. If you run into one, use that slash for division. So 109 divided by Z equals 312. Let's do two more problems together here. G times 350 is equal to 35. I see the word times, and I'm timesing my G in the 350. Again, even though the G is written first, when it comes to multiplication, whatever number comes first doesn't matter. It matters with subtraction because it'll affect your negatives. but it doesn't matter with multiplication. And so the proper format is when you're multiplying a number and a variable, you put the number first, you put your coefficient first. So we would have 350g, and then it says is equal to 35. All right, final example here. 91 minus c is equal to 3. All right, there's some subtraction going on here, so I want to make sure I can get this right. And I know I'm going to have subtraction because of the word minus, but this says 91 minus c. We can do it in that order. This is not a turnaround example. So it simply is just 91 minus c, and then is equal to 3. All right, it's now your turn to work on this. I think that you guys can rock it out. But remember, if you get started and you feel like you need a little help, check out IXL's video, or of course, reach out to your teacher and ask for help. Bye, guys. Good luck.